Okay, so we've got a question right here. It's under linear programming. So the question reads, a woman intends to order apples and oranges for sale. Let X represent the number of apples and Y the number of oranges. Write the inequalities which represents each of the conditions described below. So for this question, linear programming, it's one of the questions that do not miss in an exam. And it's really important that you understand the basics that you're supposed to consider. So let's just talk about the few basics that you're supposed to consider here. I'll just share with you some terminologies to consider. There is what we call greater than, okay? So look at this sign, greater than or equal to. There is also what we call less than, okay, or equal to. So there are only two symbols that you're supposed to remember, okay? This one, of course, we know that it's a less than or equal to, okay? Remember, this is paper 2. And this one, it's a greater than or equal to. Just two symbols. Now, what is really important here are the terminologies, okay? Terminologies need to be considered. So there is what we call at least. So the moment you come across this word at least, it should fall under greater than or equal to. This is number one term. The other term that we're supposed to know is at most. At most will fall under less than or equal to. So remember, these two are the symbols that are supposed to be there. There is another term which is called exceed. Exceed. It passes something. So exceed will fall under greater than or equal to. There is also something that you are supposed to know, and this, of course, is the opposite. Not exceed. Not exceed, which means less than or equal to, okay? So as we are answering the question, we'll be able to put in some other terminologies so that we can fully understand the topic. So now look at this. At least, of course, we said this is greater than or equal to this one. This one means less or equal to. This one means greater or equal to, less or equal to. So if you are following nicely, you'll be able to see that we only have two symbols we are using. Let's start with question 1 and see how this question 1 is supposed to be. So for question 1, they are saying the total number of apples and oranges should not exceed. Should not exceed. Have you heard that word? Should not exceed. And when you look at the word not exceed, among the terms here, we said this must be less or equal to. That's less or equal to, okay? Should not exceed, okay? So now look at this. Here we shall say X is representing apples, okay? While Y is representing oranges. This is important so that we can understand what we're supposed to do. So we shall say oranges, that is Y, not exceed simply means less or equal to 70. So that's the first inequality, okay? So for question 2 here, they are saying the number of oranges should not be more than twice the number of apples. So the number of oranges, we know that oranges, it's it's y, while apples, it's x. So they're saying the number of oranges. So we say this is inequality 1. Inequality 2, the number of oranges should not be more than twice. So oranges, we know that it's y. Since they're saying should not be more than, so that is less or equal to. Twice means to that of apples. Apples, we know that it's x. So we shall say x right here. Okay. We go to inequality 3. So inequality number 3, they're saying she has to order not more than 40 apples. Not more than 40 apples. So this is x. Not more than 40 apples. So that is x is less or equal to 40, which simply means not more than. It's the same as not exceeding. And at least, that's inequality number 4. At least 10 oranges. So that is y, which is for oranges. At least it means greater or equal to, according to what we discussed. In 10, y is greater or equal to 10. So these are the 4 inequalities needed for us to answer the question given. Okay, we go to the next part of this question. They're saying answer part B and C of the question 12 on the grid on page 31. So on page 31, there is a graph paper that you're supposed to use. In our case, we've got our own graph paper here so that we can understand. This is a graph paper we're going to use. Using a scale of 2 centimeters to represent 10 units on both axes. Draw x-axis and y-axis from 0 to 80. And shade the unwanted region to indicate clearly the region where the solution of the inequalities lie. So it's important that you come right on this corner. Okay, this is a corner we're going to use, and our 0 will be right over here. And then you start counting. They're saying 2 centimeters to represent 10 units. That simply means you'll be moving in tens. This is 0, and they've said 10 units. You'll be moving in tens. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80. So you're ending at 80. Okay. You can now get your ruler. Your ruler, put it right here like this. You draw your x-axis, and it should be neat. Make sure that your work is neat. And all this, remember, you're supposed to use a pencil. Don't use a pen. It's supposed to be a pencil. I'm using a pen so that you can understand how this is done. Okay. And then, since it's both axes, the x-axis, and then for the y-axis, the same concept. From 0, you'll be moving in tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. Oh, sorry. We're ending at 80. So it's supposed to be at 80. So this is our y-axis. Let me draw it. Counting was felt good for me, so I wanted to go as far as 100, forgetting the scale. So you should not forget the scale. It's important. You also indicate that this is x-axis. So now we follow the inequalities we have. So I'll start with the first inequality. Okay, so the first inequality is this one. Okay, this is the first inequality. Y is less or equal to 70. So what will happen here is that we'll go to the y-axis. Where 70 is right over here. This is where 70 is. So I'll use the red pen so that you can understand here. So the line will pass at 70. So you draw your line like that. Okay. And then after drawing, you now start shading. Your work must look as neat as it can. Okay. Don't just write things that do not look clean. Your work must be clean. And as you write, remember, you're supposed to use a pencil for everything that I'm doing here. The reason why I'm using a pen, I want you to see clearly what is happening. So this is why you indicate that this is y is less. Y is less or equal to 70. Now I know the question that somebody may be asking is that, look at this. They're saying y is less. Okay? This is y is less. But we are shading the top part. When you look at this inequality, you will discover that the less part is down right here, and that's what we want. We always shade the opposite of what they've asked us. They've said less. In shading, we'll shade the opposite, which is the greater. You can see up here. That's what I've shaded. Okay. We go to the next one. The next one here will be this one. Y is less or equal to 2x. These are the inequalities people face difficulties on. So the most important thing that you can do for inequalities like this, come up with a table of values. So the moment you see that the inequality that you have has got two letters, there is y and x, come up with a table of values, like I've done here, okay? And then you say this is x-axis, this is y-axis. The reason why I didn't come up with a table of values for the first one is because it has got only one letter, but for these they have got two letters, x and y. So we're going to say here, follow the x-axis, pick any numbers of your choice. I'll pick a 0. So I'll say, okay, I've picked a 0 here. And then for the next one, pick any number. If you want, you can pick 20 or 10, any number. So I'll pick 20. So I'll write a 20 here, okay? And after picking these numbers, you now do your calculations. You're going to say, what is y? Okay? So what is y when x is equal to 0? So you just get your inequality, you write it, but where there is x, here you write a 0. So this is a y is less or equal to 2, 0 there. When you work out here, it will just be a 0, meaning y is a 0. When x is equal to 0, y is also a 0. Okay? We'll come to the next one. You copy the same thing. So you say when y is equal to a 20, when x is equal to 20, what is y? Meaning where there is x here, you put a 20, it will be y is less or equal to a 40. Meaning here it's a 40. So you pick now the coordinates. So this will be a 0, 0, 0, 0. The next one will be 20, 40. So now plot these coordinates. 0, 0, it's right here. While 20, 40, it's right over there. 20, 40, it's right here. So we now do join these 2 points. It's like this, we join them, okay? So it will go all the way like that, okay? So now, here they said it's less. When you look at this inequality, this part is where it's less. So we shade the opposite, which is the greater, and the greater, of course, it's this one. I hope you're able to see. This is a greater. So make sure your work is as smart as it can. So this is the other inequality. And you indicate that this is y is less or equal to 2x. We go to the next one. The next one is right here. One letter only. They are saying x is less or equal to 40. So we follow the x-axis. This is the x-axis. 40 is right here. So the inequality will pass at 40. So this is 40. Okay, so it's passing at 40, we can see. And you also indicate that this is x is less or equal to 40. So when you look at this inequality, which side is less? This side is less. Now get the opposite, which is the greater, and this is the greater. This is the greater part. I hope you're able to see, and please, I'm reminding you to please use a pencil when doing this, okay? Don't use a pen, use a pencil. I'm repeating because some students may make mistakes of using a pen. We go to the last inequality, which is the y is greater or equal to 10. So check where 10 is on the y-axis. This is the y-axis. You cut like this. So make sure your work is as neat as it can be. Then you indicate that this is y is greater or equal to 10. Now look at this. When you look at this line, which part is the greater? You find that the greater is the top part. So we shade the opposite, which is the less part. This is how it's supposed to be. Okay? Like that. All right, so now we answer the last part of the question, which is question C. They're saying the profit on apple is 2.5 kwacha, and on an orange it is 1.5 kwacha. Find the number of apples and oranges she should order for her to make maximum profit. So for this question, it's very important that you come up with what we call objective function. So we know that apples is denoted or is represented using what? Using letter X. Why it's oranges. So you know that the profit on an apple is what? Is a 2.5. Okay? 2.5. Okay? So we're going to say 2.5 X because it's an apple plus the profit on an orange, it is 1.5. So 1.5, which is for orange. That's why. So what we've come up with here is called an objective function. So what we're going to do next is to identify the coordinates. This part is 40, 10. Wow, this part is 5, 10. Okay, so if you're not too sure, you can count. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, this part. And if you're able to see nicely, the coordinates I'm getting are the intersecting points. We know that our area, the region, okay, the unwanted region or the wanted region is this one, and the unwanted region is where we've shaded. Okay, so where they are intersecting here is where we're picking. This is 35.70. Wow, this one is 40.70. Okay, so those are the coordinates that you're able to see. So now we'll get this objective function. We start with the first here. So I'll say this is 5, 10. And then I'll get my objective function. Okay. I want to find the answer. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. So we shall say 2.5, open bracket, 5 plus 1.5, 10, okay, close. So what I've just done here, I've gotten this x-axis, put it here, the y value, put it here, and then we solve. So when we say 2.5, open bracket, 5, close, plus 1.5, open, 10, close. This, of course, is giving us a 27.5. I hope that's what you're also getting. The next one here will be this one. Okay? So that is a 40.10. So we do the same. 2.5 x plus 1.5y. So we substitute 2.5, open bracket, 40 plus 1.5, 10, and then here. So you can use your calculator, it's okay. You punch everything that needs to be punched. So 2.5, open bracket, 40, close, plus 1.5, open bracket, 10, close. So this is giving us a 115, okay? We go to the next one. I'll get the 35.70, then 2.5x plus 1.5y. So 2.5, open bracket, 30 plus 1.5, 70, okay? And then do the calculations there. 2.5, open bracket, 35, close, plus 1.5, open, 70, close. This is giving us a 192.5, okay? And lastly, we go to 40.70. So you can see this is 40.70. So for 40.70, we get the objective function 2. That is a 2.5 x plus 1.5y. Okay, so now we substitute 2.5, open bracket, 40 plus 1.5, 70, like that. So when we punch here, 2.5, open, 40 plus 1.5, open, 70, close. This is giving us a 205. So now the question said the maximum profit. So when you look at these, all of them, which one do you think is the maximum? It's this one, of course. So in your writing, you focus on the coordinates. This x is for apples. So you're going to say it's supposed to be, it is suppose 40 apples and 70 oranges. So 40 apples and 70 oranges. So in your writing, you put it here. You're going to say anywhere, even here, it's okay. So I'll write my equation C here. So I'll say 40, okay, apples and 70 oranges. So you can write your answer like this, and if you don't mind, you show the steps, how you found. Actually, you're supposed to start with the steps. So you're going to say 2.5x plus 1.5y. You just copy this objective function, and then you write 2.5, 40 there, plus 1.5, 70 And then you say equal to, this is a 205. So this is a C1. For C2, they are saying calculate the maximum profit. So maximum profit will just be the answer which is right here. That's a maximum profit. So this is how you get to answer linear programming. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Isichamba Jacob, and I guess you are doing very fine wherever you are watching the video from. Please remember to share this video, subscribe if you've not yet done so, leave a comment in the comment section, and tell more people about this channel where you're learning mathematics. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.